The entire MCU, 22 Marvel movies, almost 50 hours in 10 minutes. Whoa! If you're watching this so you can skip actually watching all the other ones, don't do it. But otherwise, enjoy the video. Thousands of years ago, super stud aliens, Asgardians, led by Odin, fought with super ugly aliens, frost giants. Asgard wins and takes the frost giant's special cube, called the Tesseract, which he hides on Earth. This is one of 6 Infinity Stones, which we will get to later. In 1942, crazy looking dude Red Skull finds it and uses it to make guns that go pew pew. Red Skull then leads a Nazi group called Hydra. Hail Hydra. Then comes along Steve Rogers, who has a heart of gold but the body of a toothpick, and still a special experiment serum turns him into Captain America. He fights the Nazis, has a super awesome friend named Bucky, who dies, and has a thing for his commander, Peggy. In the end, he sacrifices himself to save the world, and Peggy goes on to help create a spy organization called S.H.I.E.L.D. Fast forward 70 years to Tony Stark, who's a big rich jerk that sells weapons to the military. One of his own missiles puts shrapnel in his heart, and he gets kidnapped by a terrorist. He then escapes by creating the Ironman suit that makes his heart glow blue. He falls in love with his assistant, and meets the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury. His blue heart begins to poison him while crazy electricity dude teams up with I Wish I Was Tony to create better suits. Oh, and speaking of assistants, Pepper's assistant is Natasha, who's actually turns out to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent we won't only mention again until later. In the end, Tony beats him, and thanks to his dad's home video, creates a new element to fix his blue heart. Now back to Odin. He has 2 sons, Thor, who kind of looks like me, and Loki, who I like to call I Wish I Was Thor. The frost giants invade during Thor's king ceremony, and he's like, not in my house, and goes and gets his buddies to attack him. Then Odin shows up and he's like, this is actually my house, and then takes Thor's powers away and banishes him to the worst place he can think of, Earth. Thor meets some scientists, takes his shirt off a lot, while Loki pulls the ultimate psych and reveals he's a frost giant and was behind the attack the whole time. Meanwhile, Odin falls asleep while Loki becomes king, and Thor sacrifices himself to an OP robot to gain his power back. Thor then defeats Loki and falls into a black hole. Fatality. Then there's the Hulk movie, who most people skipped, and I pretty much will too. Basically, Bruce Banner is a scientist who turns into a violent monster when he's mad and has a girlfriend's dad who really doesn't like him. He fights this huge other guy and apparently gets facial reconstruction surgery. Next, S.H.I.E.L.D. finds frozen Captain America. What? He wakes up in New York, still incredibly jacked. Loki, then yes, he's still alive, don't worry about how, uses a magical scepter to mind control a guy named Clint Barton, or Hawkeye, a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who's really good at shooting arrows. Tony, Bruce, and Cap go after him, Thor crashes the party, and a feud between Cap and Tony begins. Then they are attacked, Loki kills Coulson, who's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent I haven't mentioned yet, but it was really sad. Loki then opens up the portals so aliens can invade, and the Avengers, that's what they call themselves now, go all Red Dawn on him. Loki then pulls another psych and reveals he has the world's worst boss, Thanos, who's trying to get all 6 of the Infinity Stones. He uses his 2 daughters, who get along just about as well as any other family, to find an orb. Andy Dwyer, Peter Quill, then randomly gets it first. He fights one of the daughters, Gamora, but they both end up going to jail along with a talking raccoon and tree. I'll explain later. Maybe. He's Groot. In jail, they meet World Heavyweight Champion Drax. They break out and stand together holding hands and honing the Infinity Stone power to defeat an evil guy I forgot to mention. Oh, and Groot dies. Psh, just kidding, no one dies. Baby Groot! Then Xandarian police lock up the stone on their planet where it's totally 100% safe. Peter later meets his dad, who seems pretty cool, but actually turns out to be kind of a jerk and totally a child murderer. Thanos' daughters fight each other and become friends. Peter murdered his dad, who also killed his mom. Oh, and Yanu dies. Did I forget to mention him too? Oh. Ugh. Meanwhile, Loki's in Asgard jail, Thor's kicking butt, and Jane gets possessed by another Infinity Stone. Yes, you heard that right. The red one controls reality. Dark elves wanted to control the world, so they attack and kill Thor's mom, who I also forgot to mention. They steal it, Loki dies again, fatality. Thor takes it back and drops a ship on the elf, turning down being king, and another psych! Loki ain't dead, he's freaking king! Back to Cap, he's friends with Black Widow, don't ask me how. Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury is killed by the Winter Soldier, a man way ahead of his time proactively wearing a mask. Cap meets Sam Wilson, an Air Force vet who for some reason has robotic wings. We find out S.H.I.E.L.D. has been infiltrated by Hydra. Say what? Hail Hydra. Also, remember dead Bucky? Nope, he's alive and he's the freaking Winter Soldier. Nick Fury faked his death, because why not? Bucky/Winter Soldier goes on the run, and Cap brings down S.H.I.E.L.D. Back to Tony. Holy moly, are we jumping around. Tony has PTSD from nearly dying in outer... Oh man, I didn't mention that. He builds a ton of suits until a terrorist blows up his house. Tony beats the guy, quits being Iron Man, and blows up all his suits to impress his girlfriend. Hashtag chicks are the worst. Next, the Avengers take down a Hydra base to recapture Loki's scepter. Hydra uses it to give powers to these creepy siblings.
He's fast and she's weird.
But not fast enough. He dies. Tony screws up and makes all of our worst robot nightmares a reality with Ultron. Hawkeye has a family. Wait, what? Ultron uses the Mind Stone and his staff to create a new body for himself, which the Avengers steal. It comes to life and they name him Vision. Creepy siblings realize how creepy they are and join the good guys. They have an epic fight with Ultron and destroy an entire city. Literally, an entire city. Hulk then goes to another planet, also has a crush on Natasha that you really don't need to worry about at all. Falcon gets his butt kicked by Ant-Man, a guy who can shrink himself and is hilarious. That's really all you need to know. Oh, and if he gets really small and goes into the quantum realm, where the law of time and space doesn't really matter. Next, what's his name, Ross, wants to register all superheroes for the government. Tony feels bad about it, so he agrees, while Cap is like, that doesn't sound like freedom to me. America. Split in the group. The Wakanda king is killed and Bucky's framed, so the new king goes after him. Oh, and the new king is also superpower guardian of Wakanda who goes by the name Black Panther. Cap goes after Zemo. Wait a sec, who's Zemo? Be quiet, Billy. Then Tony goes after Cap, brings Spider-Man with him. Huge fight happens, Ant-Man joins, half go to jail, while Cap goes with Bucky and Tony to stop Zemo. He then shows Iron Man a tape of Bucky killing his parents. Oh my gosh. They all fight, the Avengers split up, and Steve breaks his friends out of jail. Meanwhile, Bucky goes to Africa to a country named Wakanda, a hidden kingdom filled with super science. They use vibranium, a super hard metal, for pretty much everything. T'Challa is king until his American cousin Creed shows up, whoops him, and takes the throne. Then an epic Wakanda civil war occurs, T'Challa wins and opens his country to the world with shared technology. After Tony gets his butt whooped by Cap, he tries to recruit Peter Parker to be an Avenger. Peter's busy trying to track down the Vulture who's trying to steal alien tech from when they invaded earlier. Peter finds out his homecoming date's dad is the Vulture, and you thought Hulk had it bad. Then he wins and turns down a chance to be an Avenger. Wait, what? In another part of the world, super good surgeon Dr. Strange, yep, that's actually his name, gets into a bad car accident and ruins his hands. He then meets a cool bald lady who does magic. She teaches him to summon energy and perform magic, teleport, etc. He stops a bad guy from using the Groundhog Day method, using the Time Infinity Stone, also known as the Green One. He then helps Thor and Loki find their dad right before he dies / disappears. Then their insane sister shows up, breaks my boy's hammer, conquers all of Asgard, and kills his friends. They end up on a planet where Jeff Goldblum makes junk fight. Hulk happens to be champion there as well. Thor meets what's-her-name, whose crew died at the hands of his sister. There, Thor loses his luscious locks, and later his sister rips out his eyeball. He realizes the power has been inside him the whole time, and then defeats his sister by using crazy fire guy who destroys Asgard completely. Oh, but don't worry, a few thousand Asgardians hop on a spaceship bound for Earth where they will have a super safe, peaceful trip. That is until Thanos shows up and basically kills everyone. Thanos subdues Thor, overpowers Hulk, kills Loki. How many times can Loki die? And takes the Power Stone. Heimdall then sends Hulk to Earth using the Bifrost right before he dies. Wait a second, did I not mention Heimdall? Wait a second, did I not mention the Bifrost? Flip. Thanos then basically sends his goons to get all the remaining Infinity Stones while the Avengers are sort of split up defending them. Oh, and Bruce calls Cap, who has the coolest interest I've ever seen in my life. Don't get me started on the beard. Thanos gets the Reality Stone and kidnaps Gamora, then sacrifices her to get the Soul Stone. Oh, and also Red Skull's there, so that's fun. Weird combo of Avengers attacks Thanos on his home planet and almost win until frickin' Peter can't hold it together. Strange gives the Time Stone to Thanos to spare Tony. The rest of the Avengers have a huge fight on Wakanda to protect Vision and the Mind Stone. Thor shows up with his new battle axe and absolutely wrecks. Thanos kills Vision, takes the last stone. Thor then wounds Thanos, but Thanos snaps, killing half of all Earth. Yes, half of all Earth disappeared. Then Nick Fury sends a signal to Miss OP before he vanishes. Exactly 23 days after that, Miss OP saves Tony and Gamora's sister from space. Wait a sec, Dalton, isn't there a Captain Marvel movie? Yes, Billy, there is. The only two cool things in it are Blockbuster and Two-Eyed Nick Fury. Moving on. Then they reunite with the remaining Avengers and decide to track down Thanos to reverse everything that happened. But when they find him, Thanos says, "Psych, I already destroyed all the stones." But then Thor says, "Psych, you no longer have thy head." 5 years later. Wait, what? That's right, Billy. 5 years later, Ant-Man escapes the quantum realm and help from a rat. He and Cap try to convince Tony to time travel. Tony refuses because of his family and then remembers Peter Parker and then figures out time travel in one night. Hulk and Rocket recruit Thor, who even looks more like me now. Natasha recruits Clint, who's basically a Batman that kills. They all travel back in time to receive stones from earlier movies. They split up and a bunch of crazy stuff happen. Tony sees his dad, Steve sees Peggy, Thor talks to his mom, and Cap fights Cap? Then Nebula malfunctions and past Thanos finds out everything that happened in the future. Meanwhile, Clint and Natasha go to Vormir to get the Soul Stone, which can only be retrieved by sacrificing someone you love, so Natasha heroically sacrifices herself and Clint gets the stone. After retrieving all the stones, the heroes meet back in the present and put them into a Stark-made gauntlet. Hulk puts it on and snaps, bringing everyone back who disintegrated. Past Nebula, this is getting confusing. Be quiet, Billy. Past Nebula then brings Thanos and his army to the present. Stark, Rogers, and Thor fight Thanos, and Cap holds Thor's hammer in probably one of the best moments of my life. They get outmatched, and then Cap faces off Thanos' entire army until Doctor Strange shows up with portals to bring everyone and their mom to the fight. Literally everyone. But still overpowering everyone. gets the gauntlet and snap. But wait, Tony stole the stones and puts it in his glove, snapping himself and destroying Thanos and his army, while sadly sacrificing his own life. After Tony's funeral, Thor makes Valkyrie king or queen or whatever of Asgard and joins the Guardians. Rogers returns the Infinity Stones like the polite guy he is, but pulls the ultimate psych by deciding to stay in the past until he can surprise them as an old man, where he passes the shield to Sam Wilson to be Captain America. Then he dances with Peggy until we all cry our guts out. And that, my friends, is what you can do if you drink 6 coffees at one time. Also, movie reviews every Monday night. Check them out.